All right, welcome back, YouTube. So it's been a couple weeks. My bad on that. Not a whole lot happened, but there was one thing I'm going to discuss right now. So unfortunately, the M3 is down right now. I'm waiting on the parts to show up tomorrow, but let me go over that. So as you see, front bumper is off. I have some shit over here. Radiator's gone, no hoses, and here's what actually happened, but water pump's not in. So basically what happened was I didn't replace the cooling system on this when I did the whole rebuild. After taking a couple friends out last weekend, I was noticing a little bit of like splatter coming from like the drive belt area. So after some investigation, I found out that the inner bearing on this went out, and this has way too much play now. So the coolant and the grease on the bearing are kind of like just flinging a mixture of goop all over the place. So I pulled the water pump out, got that ordered about a week ago. All these parts will be in tomorrow. So with that, I got a brand new water pump, brand new thermostat, all new O-rings for everything. So M3 will be back together tomorrow, fortunately. So other than that, the car has been running really good. I am bummed I wasn't able to drive it around this weekend, because me personally, after driving around like a 4Runner for a full week, I look forward to the weekends where I get to drive around my project car. But she'll be running tomorrow. No big deal. It's pretty easy to do all that stuff. So other than that, also got the hood all prepped. So I just got to order the supplies, got to get this painted, because me personally, I'm getting kind of sick of just being hoodless. I'd rather have a complete looking car. So hood's ready for paint. All right, so for today, since I have like nothing really going on, I'm just waiting on my parts to show up tomorrow. I'm going to pull the cluster. And the reason for me doing this is I have two lights on the cluster that I don't want anymore. One being a red light that says brake on it. Not sure if that's ABS related, brake pad wear sensor related, but either way, I don't need that indicator on there. Second light is actually check engine light, which you guys are probably cringing a little bit, like why would you want to get rid of the check engine light? That helps you to determine if there's an issue with the car. But with my logic, I know how this thing should be running. I know how it sounds, how it should vibrate. I know everything about how this engine should be operating. So if it throws a misfire code, if it throws a throttle position code, I'll know there's something up, and then I'll just hook up a scanner later to figure out what the issue is with it. But right now the only issue is an evap code. I could have sworn I told the tuner to tune that out. I have erased the code in multiple times and it keeps popping up, so I don't want to bug the dude any more than I've already bugged him. It's pretty easy for me just to go through the back of the cluster, pull the bulb out, and basically forget about it. So in my theory, if this was like a standalone car, you wouldn't have a check engine light anyways. You just have basically your own sense of if something's wrong, or yeah. While I'm on this topic, in the near future, I do want to do like an oil temp, oil pressure gauge at least, maybe throw a third gauge in there somewhere, but basically ditch this whole panel right here, get rid of the old climate control shit. Yeah, basically I just want to make this car kind of primitive, just simple. I don't want to rely on OBD diagnostics to figure out if my car is running right. So if my oil temps are looking wrong, my oil pressure is looking wrong, I'll know to investigate that in its own way. Yeah, first I'm going to start with disconnecting the battery, and then unfortunately I do have to remove the steering wheel, but in my case it's not too big of a deal. I just have to remove all these bolts right here, pull out the steering wheel, remove this plastic piece, which is just held in by like a little Phillips head right there. That separates in half, pull that apart, and then you have two Torx screws, pull the cluster, and then there's like 3 connectors, and then the cluster will be out. All right, so I got the cluster out, and this is as easy as flipping over and locating which one you want to remove. In my case, it's going to be this one and one of these ones. So all you need is like a little flathead, and then you just twist left and the little bulb pulls out, and that's basically how you delete it. Alright, so I lied. On the brake light one, the annoying ass red brake light one, that's the only one that has its own independent LEDs right there, so you're not able to pull the bulb on that. So what I'm going to do is just wedge some electrical tape into that whole socket, and then I could compress this back together. And basically all I did on that was removed a couple screws. There's 1, 2 on the side, there's 2 on top, and there's 1 somewhere around here. I think, yeah, right there. So once you remove those or loosen those up, you could actually just separate that enough that you could actually wedge some electrical tape in there. So before I throw the cluster back in, there's one more thing I want to do today, and that is actually a pretty infamous thing on these E36s. So these are not adjustable at all. It's a fixed position steering wheel angle. So these are notorious for being a little too high up, and the solution to fix that is basically there's 2 non-removable bolts underneath that hold the shaft to the main bar up here, but basically once you break those loose, you have to swap those out for like a hex head bolt, and then you add shims in between the steering shaft and where that bolts up to. So that's what I'm going to get into. I'm going to try to drop this down probably 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch, just to get the overall driver feel a little bit better in this, because right now this steering wheel is kind of chilling above the dash. I want to drop that down just a little bit more to make it feel more comfortable, but yeah, that's what I'm getting into. All right, so first things first, I got to remove this plastic panel. In my case, it's pretty easy. It's just 1 screw here, 1 screw there, pull that out, and then we should be able to access underneath where those 2 bolts are. Also 1 screw right here. So now that we're underneath it and we have access to the 2 bolts, the bolts are right here and right there. And as you see, they have nothing you'd actually grab onto, so what I'm going to do is probably try to chip at it with like a screwdriver and a hammer, or try to grind down the sides and make a point where I could actually like attach a wrench to. But I'm going to fight with this and report back with my solution on how to remove that. All right, so after about 30 minutes, finally got this broken loose. Both bolts are out. One came out pretty easily. All I did was weld a nut and backed it out. This one, on the other hand, welded the nut, and then this top receiving square nut was pretty much melted to the fucking nut, so I actually had to cut the bolt, and that's how I was able to get that one out. So the steering wheel's dropped. If I could try to zoom in right here. I don't know why my zoom won't go any further than that, but instead of adding washers right here, I just threw some equally thick nuts on both sides, and also used a little bit longer of a bolt and was able to get that to mount up the way I wanted it to. So this is sitting a lot better. I probably dropped it about a 1/2 inch at least, and still plenty of leg clearance right here. Still able to see the full cluster right in this area. All right, day 2. So it's probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night right now. UPS didn't show up until like 7 o'clock. I was working, so as soon as I got home, I wanted to get this knocked out so I don't have to worry about it anymore. But got the brand new water pump. This thing's all Gucci now. Shaved down the threads just so it's not going to hit on the radiator fan. Got that done. Got the brand new Borg Warner, actually, thermostat, so that's tight. Got all the O-rings except for these little guys are the wrong ones. They should fit onto this, which in comparison, as you see, definitely is not the right O-ring. So I actually found a different solution. Luckily, a Volkswagen VR6 crack pipe has the same exact O-rings that I need for that little flange. So these are brand new. I'm just gonna pull these off and swap them onto this flange. So down the road, I'll have to order more crack pipe O-rings for the VR6. This thing's not gonna be running soon per se, so I'm just gonna rob it off this car for now and make this work tonight. All right, so I almost forgot, but I deleted the heater core in my car, so there's normally a pipe that plumbs into the back of the water pump right there. I actually had to remove a freeze plug out of my old water pump and tap that back in, and just for extra measures, I did use some RTV to help seal that up. All right, guys, so it's the next morning. Got kind of tired last night, so I didn't completely finish the job, but I did manage to get the water pump in, got the thermostat on, coolant hardline running to the expansion tank, that's bolted up, and radiators dropped in. So all I have left right now is throwing the fan shroud back in, bolting this guy back up, and then topping it off with coolant. All right, so in the tradition of always needing to modify shit, unfortunately brand new shit, so this is a Jeeba water pump. When I went to throw the pulley on, I noticed it wasn't turning, and as you see there, we have some resistance on the inside. After some investigation, I found that this little flange right there is what is causing it from spinning. So I'm gonna take a file to this, and hopefully that'll be enough to clearance it, and then from there I should be able to throw the pulley back on. Right, so old rusty file seemed to do the trick. Got the pulley moving, there's no resistance on it anymore, so I can move forward to putting on the drive belt and then putting on the shroud and finishing this all up. All right, guys, I just finished this thing up. So everything's bled. Everything seems like it's working well. E-fan kicks on. Can't find any obvious leaks. So S54 should be back on the road, which I'm stoked on. It's been about 2 weeks since I've drove this thing. And with that, I've just been driving around like a 4Runner, so I've been bored as hell. But with that said, I did buy a GoPro. Expect within the next week some POV driving videos of this. I'm sure you guys are stoked on it. I know I personally am. Just because all my content up to this point has been me working in this boring white garage, and I'm sure you guys want to see this thing actually driving around. So if you guys aren't subscribed, it would help a lot if you did. I'm trying to actually invest more in this channel because I want to make this a priority of mine. But yeah, hit the subscribe, and that's all I really got for this video. So thanks for watching. Till next time, guys.